The world's first coffee filter, a cylindrical metal filter fitted with permeable paper invented by Melitta Bentz and patented in the year 1908. The 35-year-old housewife was living in this house in Dresden when she invented the coffee filter and started the Melitta Company with literally a few pennies worth of startup capital. She and her husband started producing the first filters here, but due to rapidly increasing demand, they soon bought their own factory space and started hiring staff. Thomas Bentz, a grandson of the company founder, knows what inspired his grandmother to come up with her first filter.
Coffee was already a very popular drink back then in Saxony, but the traditional way of making it was to put coffee in a pot of water and then boil it up. This meant that coffee grounds wound up in the cup. My grandmother didn't like that, and one day she had the idea of using her son's blotting paper as a filter to separate the grounds.
Over the years, the filter's shape was perfected. The original brass was replaced first with aluminum and later with porcelain. Eventually, the funnel shape with a corresponding filter holder was introduced. This improved the way water flowed through the coffee.
It suited the times, and it was promoted. And it's also an interesting aspect that doesn't play such a big role anymore, the idea of practicality and hygiene in the kitchen. Those were things that appealed to housewives back then.
This is the Melitta filter. Finer than the finest sieve, it assures maximum coffee enjoyment by trapping the bitter-tasting grounds so that the flavors that taste good come to the fore. That's why 9 out of 10 housewives filter their coffee with Melitta.
In the 1960s, the company began producing electric filter coffee machines. And to make sure that accidents and mishaps don't happen, the company is continually working to improve its filters. It's constantly testing new kinds of filter paper, for instance.
It's very porous. It's relatively thick, and it lets water through while trapping the powdery, finely ground coffee. And what is called its wet strength is also very high.
Characteristics typical of a Melitta filter include the double seam for greater strength, the serving size marks, and the aroma pores. Stefan Richter works at a Berlin coffee roasting shop and describes the advantages of a paper filter.
The no-pressure filter brewing method has many advantages that are often ignored. You should consider that this brewing method makes it possible to effectively extract the fine and delicate aromas that are contained in the coffee bean.
Coffees with especially refined aromas can be fully enjoyed only as filter coffee. It's a form of coffee with a lot of tradition in Germany.
As a rule, you can assume that about 70 to 80% of the population prefers filter coffee, and just a small percentage goes for espresso or espresso milk mixtures.
Today, paper filters represent only about 15% of total sales at Melitta. Even so, the coffee filter remains its signature product. The demand for filter coffee continues to grow worldwide. It's especially popular in Brazil and in France. Melitta's biggest single export market, however, is the United States, where the company is the market leader in its segment. "100 years after it was invented, the paper coffee filter looks certain to remain a fixture in kitchens for years to come.